Last team that we'll talk about here on this episode, and like I said, if you want more of this, I think we're planning on doing more of this, but go ahead and let us know in the comments at 3TechPod on Instagram, on Twitter. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube. Just let us know who you want us to talk about. Penn State, my favorite to come out of the Big Ten this year, and I'll tell you why. Again, an unproven quarterback, another guy who's got a lot of stars next to his name but not a lot of on-field production so far in Drew Aller. And yet, what we saw from him last year in glimpses was so much better than what anything that Sean Clifford could offer. It really makes me believe that this Penn State offense, the defense is usually pretty solid, but it makes me think that this offense could be a whole lot of fun to watch with Nick Singleton in the backfield, some talented wide receivers. I think Drew Aller could usher in kind of that next wave of Penn State football that they've been a rung below Michigan and Ohio State. It might be able to propel them not in like a legacy, kind of equivalence, but you're not counting Penn State out in either of those games. I think the way that you have maybe the last couple of seasons. And that schedule's not terrible, Trey. It's
Yeah.
really not.
Yeah, and I'm pulling up the schedule right now, and West Virginia is the marquee non-conference game. I don't think anybody is sweating in their boots to play West Virginia this year, and Neil Brown is on his last limb there. Also, Delaware and UMass are the other two non-conference games, so not a lot of worries there. We talked about the division schedule with Ohio State, but you've got at Ohio State, always going to be tough, but Michigan at home, probably going to be the whiteout game, I'm assuming, and at Michigan State to close the season out. So, yeah, I mean, it sets up really nicely for them to make a run. I think, you're right to say that the defense is probably going to be solid. I am worried about losing Parker Washington and
Sure.
losing, I think, their top 2 or 3 receiving weapons from last year. They brought in a really nice transfer, right? Dante Cephas, right?
Yes, from
Transferred
Kent
in from
State.
Penn State.
Yep.
So that could definitely be a big upgrade and a big boost to them. But I do with Penn State, I'm always going to worry about the just explosiveness to keep up with Ohio State. Even when
Yeah.
Ohio State struggles with Michigan, it seems like Penn State is never physical enough to bully Ohio State or athletic enough to keep up with Ohio State. And they try to play this
That's fair.
hybrid of a game when they play the Buckeyes, and it just really doesn't go well for them usually. So, if we can pick an identity and we can pick a way to beat Ohio State and just commit to that bit, I think we'll be in good shape. But that's my big question for Penn State to be able to take the next step this year.
I do think it's going to help that you get Ohio State kind of in the middle of the schedule. You don't have them at the end. Attrition shouldn't be as much of a factor. And listen, if things are rolling offensively for Ohio State, it's not going to matter when you play them. Like, there's not a good time to play the Buckeyes. If McCord's still struggling, playing them earlier on in the season is definitely an advantage.
Definitely.
Plus, you get a little bit of a break. I'm not going to say that Maryland's a mail it in game, but look, I don't think 9 Indiana is going to ride this year. So that's probably an easy win at home. And then, you go to College Park and, maybe it's a scary game, but I think you should on paper beat the Terps. And then you get to come home from Michigan and Rutgers before finishing at Michigan State. Like, it's not a gauntlet of a schedule at any one point, the way that I feel like some of these other teams that we've mentioned in the top of the FPI have. And so for that reason, I'm just choosing to be a little bit more optimistic about Penn State. Now, are all the concerns that you have valid? Sure. Is it going to hurt that you lost Joey Porter Jr. and Jair Brown off that defensive secondary? Yes, it is. Very curious to see who steps up and fills those slots. But the talent is there at Penn State, and to me, that defense, no matter who's out there, they haven't exactly had a pass rusher who's just been super elite. I mean, listen, Micah Parsons wasn't a pass rusher at Penn State. That was a Cowboys invention. So I would love to see them get a little bit more pass rush this year, and then they always just seem to have guys in the secondary. The question for me is how is that offense going to function, and if that passing game can be more explosive than what they had with Sean Clifford, which I don't think is a very high bar to clear.
Nope, not at all.
I think I think the Nittany Lions could be a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think that they have a really solid chance. This is probably James Franklin's best chance to win the Big Ten since probably 2018, 2019, somewhere in there.
Since
So
that Rose Bowl season.
yeah, so I'm excited to see what they can put on the field this fall. I just wonder which direction are we going to take identity wise to finally get that Ohio State monkey off our backs.
Gracious him! How about that?